It was the game where a journeyman pitcher was standing on the doorstep of perfection, and the umpire flat out said, nope. We're talking about Armando Galarraga's near-perfect game for the Detroit Tigers. My name is Joel Beck.
And I'm Chad Connicky, and today we're joined by special guest Jeff Suffolk, a podcaster, entrepreneur, lifelong Detroit Tigers fan, and, oh, by the way, varsity high school soccer coach. Episode 4 of Where Were You begins now.
Hey, where were you?
Where were you?
Where were you?
Where were you?
Where were you when the sports ball thing happened that was awesome or really bad? These guys want to talk about it, Joel and Chad. Did a game change your life? Were you there in the crowd? Did you weep like a baby because you were so proud? Do you have a tattoo or a ritual or two that you actually believe's the reason why they win or lose? Yeah, where were you? Where were you?
Where were you?
Where were you for history in the making? Did it make you happy or crazy mad? These guys want to talk about it, not a single doubt about it. Listen to them talk about it, Joel and Chad.
Hello, world, and welcome to episode 4 of Where Were You? My name is Joel Beck, alongside my co-host, as always, Chad Connicky. Chad, welcome back for episode 4. We're going to have a good one today.
Pleasure to be here, and this is probably going to be the best episode.
This is going to be the best. Each one is going to be better than the one before. Is that the
That's
way?
what
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Try to get better. We have a special guest. You can probably see him over there. Our guest today is an entrepreneur. He's a podcaster. He's a soccer coach, and he's a lifelong Detroit sports fan. He is the co-host of the Next Level Training Soccer podcast alongside NCAA Division I Hall of Famer Aaron Bird, where they dive into the nuts and bolts of youth soccer all over the country. He's an innovator at heart, and he's launched worldwide sensations like the Color Run, the Denver Oktoberfest, and other iconic events. Most recently, and we're going to dive into this, I hope, he hosted the World Stein Hoisting Championships in Las Vegas. Did I get the title of that correct? Or is it? We'll come back to it. Close. It sounds amazing. He also co-owns the legendary dive bar Ron's in Petoskey, which is named after his dad. I'm guessing Ron is named after your dad, not Petoskey, right? So, got it. And when he's not coaching varsity soccer, he's still celebrating Sparky Anderson's birthday and weaving Alan Trammell home runs into everyday conversation. Is Alan Trammell with us, by the way? Is he here? Is he?
Yeah.
Is he sitting? Does he have a jersey by any chance? He's
Oh!
Listen,
raised in Metro Detroit on a steady diet of Vernors and Better Made potato chips. He's a proud Western Michigan University graduate. These days he calls Harbor Springs, Michigan his home, where he lives with his wife Jill and their son Jack. Please welcome, as I crack open my Vernors, welcome
whoa.
Jeff Suffolk, everybody. Look at this. These things are so tasty.
Let's go!
You are prepared.
I am prepared. Yeah.
That's
I
that
live
was way too long of a bio.
No, that wasn't enough.
I realized as I was about a third of the into it, I was like, this is long. It didn't, but it was good. And well-deserved. So welcome, Jeff. Thank you so much.
You guys.
Yes, and we didn't even mention friend of 15 years. So
yeah, exactly. 15 years. So the topic today, more at least. The topic today, and the reason we invited Jeff on the show, it's probably going to be a bit of a painful one for him, and I apologize for that. But this was very unique. It happened almost exactly 15 years ago, June 2nd, 2010. It was the night where Detroit Tigers pitcher Armando Galarraga, let's just say, pitched a perfect game, but 28. Chad, what does that say? Does that say nuts? Oh, outs. 28 nuts.
Well, that would be a real story.
For those who are just listening and not watching the video, Chad is holding up signs. 28 outs. So yeah, he for all intents and purposes, he pitched a 27 out perfect game against the then Cleveland Indians that day. Only famously, the first base umpire, Jim Joyce, missed the call, later admitted that he missed the call. The runner, it interrupted the perfect game, and here we are. Now, what makes this a story, other than the fact that it's kind of a legendary game in its own right, is that the three of us actually watched this game together at a remote bar in rural Georgia for a work event. The three of us were working at the time for the Gatorade Player of the Year program, and we were in Georgia presenting the award. Jeff, you worked as part of the media production team. Chad and I were on the selection committee and we were there to present the award to a high school baseball player in Georgia. And there we were. I had just found. I think I'd only Jeff. What makes this amazing is that the three of us. I think this is the only sporting event that the three of us have ever watched together, ever. Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't
I
think
think
of
it's
another.
cool.
I mean, Chad and I have been lifelong friends, but Jeff, we've met a handful of times at best, and the fact that this is the only game,
yeah,
that we watched together is just astronomically unlikely. I believe.
Bizarre. There's so many things that are bizarre about this game, and
Yeah.
that's one of them for sure. And I mean, I can't wait to dive in.
Yeah. So we were there, and just to give people some backstory, I think we had met for drinks or dinner the night before the Gatorade event that we were scheduled to do. I didn't even own an iPhone at this point. We actually all huddled. I was Anybody who knows me knows that I'm constantly checking the baseball scores during baseball season, but I didn't even have a smartphone. I was looking at it on my old iPod Touch, and I had just found out that Jeff was a big Detroit fan. And as I'm scrolling through the scores, I saw that the Detroit pitcher, Armando Galarraga, was, I think, 7 innings into a perfect game. So I nudged you, and I said, "Hey, this guy's pitching a perfect game." So then we all huddled around my iPod Touch for the next 2.5 innings or so with bated breath. And
Yes.
it was a roller coaster of emotions that happened from there. Would you agree? Is that how you remember it? Both of you, chime in. Is it what I just described? Is that how it all went down? Would you agree?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I would. I believe we actually. By the way, it was to date. It was still the best job I ever had for 3 years. I think
Oh,
that was
same,
and
100%.
the stories, the people we met, the trips that we had were. I would love to do a reunion tour just to dive back into
Absolutely.
those memories. Were just incredible. I still talk about them to this day. But I do
Yeah.
remember that we were in the middle of something relatively busy. Important, and we stepped away to huddle around this 3-inch screen.
Yes. Yeah, it was incredible. And just going off of the terrible Wi-Fi that they had at the time I think it was Adel, Georgia was the name of the town where
Yep.
we were.
Right.
And
And
but we were
Jeff had to stay another day and like shoot video of tractors and stuff. It was amazing.
Through my
yeah,
tears.
it was definitely a roller coaster ride. And I was convinced it was going to happen. I don't know how you guys felt. I mean,
Well, there was so many things that led up to that game that it was amazing. One, Armando Galarraga was relatively unknown to anybody outside of Detroit
sure.
at that
Yeah.
time, right? But the setup for that game, was we could spend hours talking about the web of the small business of Major League Baseball. But what got me, we were all on the edge of our seats. I think we started watching at the end of the 7th, top of the 8th, and
Sounds right.
I felt like kind of a poser Tiger fan at the time, because I would normally watch most games or listen to them, and the Austin Jackson catch was like,
Oh,
Oh, wow.
if you
this is
remember,
the moment that nobody talks about. This one of the segments we sometimes do on this, which we don't not necessarily doing on this one, but is the moment in these events that nobody talks about, and that would have been a great one for this. I completely forgot about it, actually.
Forgot that.
Yeah.
Somebody else had a no-hitter that they compare that catch to, and I'll have to dive back into the history books, but it was one of the greatest catches under the pressure of that game. I mean, it's early June game, doesn't have a whole lot of
Right.
stakes on the line, but they, there were 17,000 people there in Comerica Park in Detroit, and everybody was tuned in at this point throughout all of Michigan, and for him to make that catch, and the look on everybody's faces, if you go back and watch that replay, was like, oh, he just hit a home run. No, he didn't. He just hit a double. No, he didn't. Austin Jackson just made an amazing catch over his left shoulder. And we were like, this is happening. Like, this is happening. And we were.
Were you you were texting friends at this point and family? I mean, was your phone blowing up at that point, or as much as it could with the bad Wi-Fi and cell reception that we had in Adel, Georgia?
Well, we were, at the time we thought we were living at the height of technology. So yeah, it was we were.
I'm watching the game on the palm of my hand. Right. Yeah. It was.
And yes, I mean, I still talk to friends about it. We're big Detroit Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings.
Sure.
We follow, we're Michiganders through and through. Like, this is home. It means a lot to us. The Lions, everything about this town, and it gets a little old a little bit because, like, we are achievers here in Michigan. But the story is about grit, and sometimes a little woe is me. We're kicked down a little bit. We're forgotten, but like, great things have happened in my lifetime of 40 plus years of being a Detroit fan, or being like an aware Detroit fan, and that was one of them. That was like something that happened that I remember. I was like, that to me was the moment. I was like, everybody is all in on this, and that catch was worthy of the next 2 outs need to be.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that context because, first of all, there's the context of the perfect game, but of what a perfect game means in Major League Baseball, but also the context of Adel, Georgia. 2 very quick anecdotes from that trip. One, the family dinner for the Gatorade National Player of the Year in baseball that year was at a place where every item on the menu was fried.
Yes.
Literally every item on the menu. You could not get a food item that was not fried. That I remember. And then also on our way to that Adel, Georgia location, we passed through a small town filled up with gas, and there was a guy who was straight out of Central Casting.
Yes.
Tipping back on his chair against the wall of the gas station, selling boiled peanuts.
Yes, and you made us stop the car to get out and buy a bag of boiled peanuts off the side of the road.
We have boiled peanuts. I don't know what it is. And he said, "Where are you boys from?" And we said, "Boston." And he said, "Boston, Georgia?" So those are the 2.
Goodbye.
But then, yes, I think that's what Joel said. But then the context, the reason we're talking about this missed perfect game, which was a perfect game, is because there have been in 150 years of baseball, there have been 24 perfect games.
Yes.
And so exactly what Jeff is referring to, it's a freak occurrence. You need incredible defense. You need web gems. You need luck. You need the stars to align. And so,
well, I want to jump into that. That's actually a perfect segue into kind of the next segment that I kind of want to talk about, which is who and what made this a thing. And Jeff, I want you to talk. You touched on it a little bit earlier about Armando Galarraga, but as a Detroit fan, I mean, separate from this, what are your memories or your takeaway from what kind of a player or pitcher he was?
Well, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say, like, he wasn't well known. I mean, he did have an amazing season the year before. And I think he pitched. I think Jim Leland let him pitch opening day that season. Like, he was.
Is that right? I didn't remember that. Okay.
I'm pretty certain that that's how it happened, because he went on he got really hot at the end of the season, and then he was asked to pitch opening day, so he was on everybody's radar. But prior to that,
2008, I think he had a great year, like a really solid year. Then I think 2009 maybe took a step back, and then he was, by the time this game happened, he was, I think, struggling to stay in the rotation.
That's He
Yeah.
pitched the opening game in 2009 is when he became on my radar. So the season before, he had become, because he won Rookie of the Year, or he was on the ballot box for Rookie of the Year. He finished
Sure.
somewhere along the lines of like 4th or 5th,
Yeah.
6th, 7th,
But
something like that.
he got the opening day nod over Verlander, and I mean Scherzer wasn't there yet, I don't think, but Verlander certainly was. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
And that's a huge accomplishment. He, a lot, he brought so much to the bullpen, and he was to the starting rotation. This was going to be our run. And so before that, he was relatively unknown. And then you think about I appreciate this as much, as much as you guys do, like you said at the beginning, but like I still coach, high school soccer. I still talk about sports, and it's a very important fabric of my being. And this guy is, it's an amazing. I mean, his wife, he met his wife, I think, when he was at the Expos. She's a strength and conditioning coach. So he married somebody in the system. He didn't, and then after this season, when he was released, or the following season, when he was released, I think he only pitched like 4 more games in the majors, and he was done. Like he went on to like the Chinese Professional Baseball League. He went down to the Mexican leagues.
Right.
Oh, wow.
He got bounced around the
Really
minors.
bounced around. Yeah, he
Yeah.
definitely did. All right. The other players involved, I want to talk about Jim Joyce, the umpire who made this call or didn't make the call, whichever way you want to look at it. Chad, did you again, separate from this, did you have any memories of Jim Joyce or no? I mean, was he just I didn't. I mean, I knew the name as I watch a lot of baseball, but didn't really think of him
Yeah.
that much.
Same here. I remember a lot of games where he worked the plate. It seemed like he worked a lot of American League East games for some reason. I just remember listening to a lot of games where he's working the plate. And I remember thinking he was a legit, consistent guy, not anybody that, we all know the Joe Wests of the world. And I did not have a negative association with Jim Joyce.
Right.
Until
for some reason, I can remember almost all the umpires from like my childhood up into my 20s, but I don't think I could name a single one. Like you said, Joe West, Durwood Merrill, Tim Sheeta, Rich Garcia, Jim Joyce. So yeah, he was. I guess it's if you do your job well as a major league umpire, people don't know who you are. Would you agree? If you become the show, or a sideshow, then But Jeff, you have strong feelings about Jim Joyce today.
So do I. He's not the only one, but go ahead.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
yeah. No, I mean, there was, immediately I joined the Facebook group. I hate Jim Joyce. No, fire Jim Joyce. And then
Oh man.
I went to register firejimjoyce.com, and to my surprise and to my delight, somebody had already registered it that same night.
Oh, so good. So good.
He is a consummate professional. Like he is a fabric of Major League Baseball. And there's so many weird things about you don't hear about umpires unless they do something terrible. And the only one I could remember before that is John Hirschbeck, who had a spitting incident with Roberto Alomar, which is weirdly tied into Roberto Alomar Jr. being the first base coach of this game.
Right?
Yes! Like John
Yes.
Hirschbeck almost got into a fight with Roberto Alomar, and you know who broke up that fight?
Who was it? Was it Jim Joyce?
Jim Joyce. And it was in the locker room. It was like out of sight, out of mind, and he stopped that fight from happening. So there's like these weird ties back to this game for all like the stars.
Wait, time out. Wasn't it Sandy Alomar, Roberto's
correct
brother? Correct.
Yeah,
yes.
No, I knew what you meant. But the reason I made the observation is because Sandy Alomar later says in one of the many productions about this game, I could see how Joyce might not have had the angle I did, where it was super clear he was saying.
Yeah.
I know I shake my head too, Jeff, because I'm like, you got to get that call. But like, it was so gracious of Alomar to say, I could see maybe he didn't have the angle I did. Yeah.
Right. Well, and I've heard that interview, and it's nice.
Look at his face.
But here's like, okay, so you tell me, and I mean, I know Michigan very well, and I know like the surrounding areas, and Toledo is, we obviously fought a war over Toledo. If you know Michigan history, Michigan, Ohio history, we got the better end of that stick, and we got the Upper Peninsula. So I don't think much of Toledo, but Jim Joyce is from Toledo.
Oh,
I didn't know that. Okay.
there you go.
Well, are you and there are people I know that are from Toledo that are Tiger fans because it's easier to get to the Tiger Stadium than it is to get to whatever they call that godforsaken place that the Indians play.
Hey, now.
He could have been an Indians fan, right?
Could have been.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
for
like-
sure.
It's
For
like
sure.
it's like living in Connecticut. It's like split between Yankee fans and Red Sox fans. It's all right there.
And there is a natural tie-in being being our farm team. But once that happened, I went on a rampage of like finding out who this man was, and like he had to have had some tie. We were convinced there was something else at play here that was very nefarious. And
Right. Okay. Before I want to get back into more of that, but the one last thing I kind of want to talk about here is just talk a little bit in chat. I think you have some facts and figures about just talking about what was at stake about perfect games in general, and you said there's only been 24 of them total.
Yeah.
In
And I just had a personal memory is that one is that I saw the 10th. I saw highlights of the 10th, but I was a cognizant baseball fan in 81 when Len Barker pitched the 10th perfect game in Major League history. Now there have been 14 since in the ensuing 44 years. But what really freaks me out about perfect games and Galarraga is I just call it a perfect game. I'm sorry.
Sure.
So sue me. That should have been the third perfect game in like less than a month in 2010.
Yeah.
Which nothing even close to that
Which
has
is
happened.
crazy. Yeah. Who else? Dallas Braden of the A's had one, and somebody else. Was it King Felix? Was it Felix Hernandez had one that year? Maybe. I can't remember.
Can't remember, but I will tell you that.
If only we could look it up somewhere.
let me ask you something. Do you know who the second base umpire was for Dallas's no-hitter?
This is what I was going to bring up.
I do.
Sorry.
I believe it was Jim Joyce. Yeah.
I
For
mean,
those
Jeff, such a good point by you, Jeff. Like that, you talk about the weird ties. That's just not okay. That's just weird.
Yeah. But perfect games are I would say the rarest feat in baseball. Just to kind of tie it in for anybody who's listening who may not be familiar, it's one of the hardest things to do. And what it is 27. There's 27 outs in the game, 27 up, 27 down. The pitcher retires every single batter, and it's incredibly rare. And that's what made this.
No walks, no hits, no errors.
Yeah, right. Not a single base runner. All right, moving right along. Let's talk about.
We're done with Jim Joyce.
No,
not yet.
No. We have so much more about Jim Joyce to talk about. This whole show.
You're not.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podcast, Jim Joyce. No, I'm just.
Oh man,
Jeff would come through the screen.
I would cower.
Let's talk about the call. So we're here. Here we are in rural Georgia, huddled over my iPod Touch, a 2-inch screen, trying to watch the game. The batter. So at this point in the game, Armando Galarraga has retired the first 26 Cleveland Indian batters. The last one was a guy named Jason Donald, who was, I think, a utility infielder. He hits a ground ball to first base. It's fielded by the first baseman who's going to be a Hall of Famer, whose name is Miguel Cabrera.
Yes.
Miguel Cabrera fields the ball. Galarraga, as a pitcher, is always taught to do, goes to cover first base. Cabrera throws him the ball. He steps on the base. The game is clearly over. He's pitched a perfect game until we see Jim Joyce make the call. Now, Jim Joyce calls him safe. And I can tell you, and I will tell you both, and I'll tell anybody else who's watching or listening, I will never forget the look of all the color draining out of Jeff Suffolk's face. I think you actually put your hands on your cheek, and I think it was kind of like this, and you just, it looked like I'm not trying to bring up a painful memory, but that's what it is. Talk to me about your emotions in that moment when that happened.
Well, the Detroit sports fan perspective, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna have a Werner's while you go ahead.
I appreciate that you understood my Werners and Better Made chips,
Yes.
and how prepared you are. That's amazing, by the way. It's just it's it's part of our DNA to it's our rite of passage. We spend a lot of time at Comerica Park. We bleed Detroit sports. We do feel like the underdog in every situation, which I don't know why we have that attitude. Maybe because the town has been kicked around for so long, and we find our success through our sports teams. And
Sure.
just like anybody, you feel like they're out to get you. It's us versus the world. It's the Eminem, everybody from the 313. Like it is, it's us versus the world. And we have to stick together. We have to celebrate the good times. We have to support each other in the bad times. And this was about to be a really good time because I think there was only 20 perfect games at that time. Maybe is that right, Chad? Or 21, maybe, or something like that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It hasn't been many since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere in there.
So like Detroit lore, this happened in Detroit.
Yeah.
Friends and family are at the game. It is a magical night that was stolen from us. And
Yeah.
I think my reaction, even the next day, was like Jim Joyce's, not his lack of awareness. He stuck to that call, and he knows he's a professional umpire. He knew he got it wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And,
Right.
And he still got in Jim Leland's face and said, "I got it right." He said, "I'm not giving it to him," or something like that.
Not giving it to him.
That was the worst. He didn't
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah.
I think he was saying that. I think he was saying that to the first baseman because the first baseman was losing his mind, and
That's right.
that's just a shitty.
Yeah.
It's a shitty thing to say.
But
He earned it.
I knew what he meant. But he got it wrong.
Yeah. I will never forget Galarraga's instant reaction, his immediate reaction. And I think it's a very telling thing about his character. I think there are many, many players who would have immediately flown into an unbridled rage, and rightfully so, and his immediate reaction was he smiled, and it was a frustrated smile, but it was a smile nonetheless. It was like, are you joking? Are you joking? And he just went back, and he he pled his case, and then he got the final out. And then I remember that there were some fire. I think then Leland really got fiery once the game was over, and
Yeah.
people had to kind of be restrained and everything. But I'll never forget Galarraga's immediate reaction. And then and then hearing him after the game talk about how happy he was. He wasn't mad when he saw the replay. Everybody else would have been pissed. I feel like everybody else
yeah.
would have been like, they saw the replay. It's like, but he said he was happy because there was proof that he did it. He goes, I know in my head that I did it. I pitched a perfect game. It's not in the books, but I know I did it. And I think that was an amazing, it just shows so much character on his part.
And it's so unusual. And I don't want to jump all over. Jeff is so much more important in this opinion. But like, it's so unusual in today, looking back today at that. It's just like, wow, that probably would never happen today. And
Well, I mean, as we were just building up around the Jim Joyce stuff, I looked down at my watch to see what my heart rate was, and this is 14
Doing okay?
years
Is it all right?
15 years later, and I can still get worked up over it because it feels like it was stolen from us. But at the same time, I couldn't name 5 other perfect game pitchers, right? Like
Yeah, right.
this definitely cemented his legacy. as a phenomenal pitcher. It changed the game, right? Like there's replay now,
Yeah,
you know.
it is.
So
It's I think it might be the game that led them to implement replay. It was certainly one, on the short list of games where Major League Baseball finally said, "We got to get these calls right. We got to figure something out," because yeah, it's just and over the course of a century of baseball prior to that, you can probably there's countless number of instances where it would have come in handy. And by this point, now that the technology finally existed, we can probably be thankful for Jim Joyce. I'm trying to put a positive spin on it as much as I can.
Look at Jeff's
Look at
face.
it, Jeff.
No, I'm kind of much more in Jeff's camp, but I would say this, two things. One, yes, I think this did accelerate things because the 87 or whatever, somewhere in the mid 80s, the Cardinals World Series blown call first base in the World Series, that didn't make
Yeah,
them change.
Don Denkinger. That's another. Yeah,
Yeah.
right, right.
Um,
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure, and that's the first one that a lot of people point to is like, well, because it was again on such a huge stage. It was such I think an even worse call than this
I
one.
think it,
I'd have to go back and look at them both again, but I remember that one being like, ugh.
yeah, there were
yeah,
certainly games of higher stakes than
Yeah,
a first week of June, you know, Tigers versus Indians, but this one, cements this guy's name into the record books forever. And when
yeah,
it was, just a couple years ago when you started the petition
I know.
online, like
We'll get into that too. Yeah,
I we'll talk about that. But and it was embarrassing, but it was, the Detroit way, and I think any other town would have done this, but like they, like I think like 2 nights later they presented Galarraga with like GM came out with a 2010 Corvette for him, like on the
right.
field, and like gave him a Corvette, and
Yeah.
somebody gave him a medal of reasonableness or something like that.
that's awesome.
Oh, isn't that something we need more of in the world today? Just a
What,
medal
what, are
of
you, what, are you,
reasonableness.
what are you talking about? What do you mean?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I mean, it
Oh,
sounds
pick
like
up a
something straight out of
newspaper, would
Monty
you,
Python.
Chad? Yeah,
But I
yeah,
mean, to
exactly.
your point, Joel, there's been a million times. We talked about this earlier in the week when we were talking about this show. Like, there probably been a number of no hitters where there was a call that it should have been a no hitter. But
Sure.
the perfect games, nobody's ever in a position with 2 outs. I mean, it's so rare to be in a position.
Yeah.
And then the guy on the out, on the 27th out, gets it wrong. I can't
Yeah.
believe that's happened more than that.
I don't think it has, oh boy.
Look at
Jeff,
I try to put
Jeff,
myself in his shoes. Well, I mean, like, I mean, try to get my brain around it because I'm like, okay, listen, I've umpired baseball, high school baseball, little league baseball.
sure.
Like, I love actually umpiring baseball. I think it's a ton of fun, giving back.
I've done it too. I took a course and I was certified and everything. It's yeah, I
yeah.
had fun. It was fun. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
It's great. But if you put me in that position, I would think, okay, I could get that wrong because of the magnitude of that moment. I could be like, he's safe, and like, or get the call wrong, like
Sure.
he's a I mean, he did the World Series 2 years later. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like,
All right, but what I want to talk about is, and what I think what makes this game and this whole entire ordeal special was the human moment that followed. Now, I understand, Jeff, you may not share in it, but that to me, that's what made this great was the graciousness. I mean, Jim Joyce was in tears after the game. After he was in the game, after the game, he went to the locker room and watched the replay and immediately came forward and was apologetic and held and accountable, and that is another thing that I feel like is extremely rare, even just 15 years later
Yeah.
in the the climate of the world that we live in today, where somebody admits that they messed up and is uh I mean, he was so gut punched by it, and he and that's what and all the things that you talked about later. I think in the next game, Armando Galarraga came out and brought out the scorecard to Jim Joyce, who was who was doing the home plate for the next game, and they had a tearful moment. They presented at the ESPN's ESPY Awards together later that year. We were there.
I
We
didn't
were
know
actually
that.
there for that. Yeah,
I
and
didn't know
so
that.
they yeah, so it became, you know, perfect games are rare, but they're quickly forgotten in some ways. I mean, how many people remember that Philip Umber of the Chicago White Sox pitched a perfect game?
Yeah.
Or, you know, there's only been 24 of them, but they, this is one that people remember. Does that
Yeah.
make it any more special in your mind that it became something bigger than the game in a way?
Yeah, especially in, as Chad eloquently put it, like in today's environment, like it's rare that people
Yeah,
own up to their mistakes, and they do. And you know, I it- I was mad and I was sad, and Detroit or not, like I probably would have been, I would be sad for anybody who had to go through that. And then it did shift for me to be really understanding of Jim Joyce, because he's
Wow.
very proud of his profession, as we all are, right? And of
sure.
whatever we do, and we want to do it our best. And there was no intention behind it at all. He made a mistake and he owned it. And to watch a grown man cry in front of 17,000 people for a mistake that he made, to beg everyone to leave his family alone, for him to take
Right.
all
Right.
of the abuse, he meant it.
Yeah.
I can I can forgive.
So you're not gonna drive down to Toledo, uh, and 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 find him or whatever, Yeah.
No, no, and if he was on the podcast, maybe we invite him for the next one. Um, I'd
I'm
like to
sure
know
it's exactly what he wants to do, I'm sure. Yeah,
his
no.
his story is amazing though, because like, I mean, and maybe you wanna dive into it, like, he saved the life of some woman,
Oh
like,
gosh.
the like,
Right.
the following year, 2 years later, right? It was like at Arizona Diamondback Stadium.
I
Oh, wow.
completely forgot that.
I did too, yeah. What real quick, yeah, do you remember the circumstances
Like a
or,
cardiac event? And
It was I don't know if it was a cardiac event or not, but he had to administer CPR. He saw this woman faint. She was part of the Arizona Diamondbacks Association, and he knew CPR and he saved her life. That's the extent of the story that I know, because
amazing.
I was kind of amazed that, like, with that stain on his career, that he was immediately invited back and he did the All-Star game in 2012.
Yeah,
And I think you need to take a little hiatus, even if it's, 3 seasons. But the ironic part was that the Tigers made the World Series
yeah.
sure.
that
Oh,
year,
yes.
and guess who was absent? Like,
Well,
he would.
yes.
Yeah,
But
So,
no, that's
anyway,
crazy. But
not to get too Little House on the Prairie or anything, but like that is interesting to hear your perspective, Jeff. Not having really talked to you about this since, within the first couple weeks after that happened. Um, I don't want to read too much into it, but your perspective as a husband now and a father, and you're approaching the big 50, I think.
yeah.
Like you are seem to be much more I don't know, prone to forgive at some level, which is fascinating. Because I fucking hate that guy.
Well, if it was my kid, I'd probably hold. But either way, he did the right thing. He fixed, he righted his wrong, and he owned it like a man. And it was
True.
yeah,
in a very far away world from that. Like, we have a local official who's got to be in his 80s at this point, and I'm just impressed that he's out there doing it. Now, Jim Joyce was not in his 80s at the time. Like,
right.
No.
I don't even think
Yeah.
he's 70 yet. Right?
No,
Like, he
no,
was.
he is retired now, I know, but yeah,
Thank
he was
God.
still a young guy. He's still a young Mm. Can
Okay.
can we agree that if this egregious injustice was had to occur, it could not have happened to two better people or two people who handled it who could have possibly handled it any better. Both of them, both Galarraga and Jim Joyce. it was kind of a perfect storm in many ways, and I think
Yeah.
it could have gone so much worse. I feel like.
One of my this is a I'd love your opinion on this. My One of my favorite movies of all time is For the Love of the Game with Kevin Costner.
Of course, yeah.
It's not an of course though, I don't think, because my wife will call me out on it. She's like, "It's not a sports movie, Jeff.
Yeah.
That's a love story."
Yes, this was a knock on it from the beginning. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. But you
I
could say
Right.
the same thing about Rocky. Rocky's is a love story with boxing kind of as the
True.
background. The original Rocky.
There's a
Rocky
lot of
4 was
baseball.
about boxing, but yeah.
There's a lot of baseball in For Love of the Game.
There is. And the story of him, like it goes into my head almost every day, like pushing the sun back up in the sky one more time.
Oh
And
my God, I think about that all the time.
it's a great quote, right? It's a great quote, whoever the announcer is in that made up game. And but but you think about like this beautiful moment of a perfect game and how they got the final out, and then you see this one so tarnished, like you feel bad for him. And there's so many weird, like, I don't think that who got the hit, quote unquote, Jason Darnold, was that his
Jason
name?
Donald, yeah. Yeah.
I don't think he ever played again, right? Like he's
No.
in interviews.
I
It
think
might
he
have
would be
been.
okay. I think he would be okay with one less hit on his career
No, he
record,
was
don't you think?
clearly totally okay with it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have seen it ex post facto. He was like, I was about to step on the bag and I said, "Oh, he did it." He knew he was out
Yeah.
by a good margin. Oh, he
Yeah.
did it.
He did, and he
Unbelievable.
knew it. But it was like that was the end of his career. Armando's career was basically the end of Armando's career. He barely pitched ever again. So it wasn't the beautiful ending that I would have hoped for a Detroit Tiger to experience, but it did turn into a much bigger story, and it couldn't have happened to two better guys. You're 100% right. That's a great way of putting it, because they handled it. They showed grace. They gave an example of how I wish people would respond in this world of, zoom out a little bit larger on everything. And
It wasn't the ending that you wanted for, but I, for one, happen to believe there's still time, which brings us to our next segment. And this has been a pet project of mine and just something that I believe for a long time. Uh, where do we go from here? And more to the point, what would it take to convince Major League Baseball to put this game in the record books as a perfect game? It seems like a long shot, and it probably is. But and this, like I said, this has been a pet project for mine for a long time. Jeff, you alluded to it earlier that a couple years ago, I actually started an online petition to do exactly this. I went to change.org and I started an online petition. I had I found them. I had little cards made up with the play and the thing on there, and then on the back, the website and everything. One day, on a whim, I actually have an entire box of these cards, but I took two. I took 2 or 3 boxes of those cards, and I drove the 2.5 hours from my house in Cleveland to Comerica Park, and I scattered these cards throughout the ballpark. In the men's room, on the little tables over by the merry-go-round, and people's seats and everything, and and then I foolishly and kind of naively thought, well, now I just sit back and wait, and the signatures will start rolling
Money
in,
rolling.
and then I go to then I'm going to fly to New York and have my petition and be like, hey guys, look at this. I kind of forgot about it. I got like 10 signatures. But funny story, I actually logged in today for the first time in a couple of years, and people have been signing this petition over the years. It's got, close to 100 now, which I think I had like barely double digits when I forgot about it. So my point in all of this is I believe that this is something that needs to happen, or at least we need to discuss how we can make it happen. And I think it starts with the pros and cons. Like, I actually came up with a pros and cons list
Ooh.
of reasons
Serve it
why.
up. Serve it up.
I know I don't want to take up too much time with this, but I have a list why Armando Galarraga's perfect game should be in the record books, and we can debate. Starting with, he got all 27 outs. He literally did it. He retired
Fact.
27 straight batters. The blown call was the only thing between him and history. Facts. Number 2, everybody involved agreed it was wrong. Jim Joyce admitted he blew it. The fans and the players, they all knew. Jason Donald knew. Would you agree that there's no debate over this? Nobody is saying there's no ambiguity that the call may have been wrong. 100%. Yeah. Replay proves it. And today we have expanded replay. The call absolutely would have been overturned within seconds if the game were played today. Let's see what else we got here. Legendary sportsmanship. The grace in the aftermath elevated the moment beyond a normal perfect game, I think is a good point. Justice for Galarraga, I think is a good reason to do it. His career was modest, but this was his defining moment, and he deserves his place in history. Those are my reasons why I think. Do you guys see? I mean, do you guys agree? What do you guys think? Chad, what do you think?
Well, I would just say, yes, I agree. And the first item on the con side is that he's been able to not really try and monetize this. Example, I bought a 28 ounce t-shirt from the Andres Galarraga website.
Armando Galarraga.
Sorry,
Galarraga.
God, I can't get his name right. Armando
Andres was
Galarraga
he was a slugger,
website,
that guy.
and it just didn't arrive. It was supposed to arrive today. It didn't arrive. So that shows you he's been able to make some cash.
Sure. I think the bigger issue is the precedent. I mean, I think it's the argument that everybody points to is that it's a dangerous precedent to set, that to overturning a call, an on-field call, that it would open a door for endless retroactive changes. That's I don't agree. I feel like this game had very unique circumstances that that you could allow this to happen. I'm not saying we have to go and change every bad call that's ever been made, but in this particular circumstance, I would even say even if the batter after Jason Donald, whoever that was, even if that guy got a hit, then like a clean single up the middle, I would even say then, no, let's not change it. But because then you do start to go down a slippery slope, but the fact that the very next guy got out, I think there's a case that can be made. So
I'll add to that. The commissioner's argument, and we might talk about this in a minute, that it opens a Pandora's box is so the premise. I reject the premise. There have been 24 perfect games in the history of the game.
Right.
It's very much clearly the exception.
Yeah.
It is not a Pandora's box.
Right. Yeah, we're not talking about a bad foul called in the Eastern Conference semifinals or something like that. Like this is history. I would say that my devil's advocate in me or my calm nature now, getting into my I'm pushing the sun back up in the sky, is he's not in prison. We're not trying to free a man from prison.
Yeah.
So
right.
So I'm fine with the history books staying this way. I don't know if it changes his life any more than it already has. Mm-hmm. But what I do love, when you were doing your petition, Joel, I was so happy because I don't ever want him to be forgotten. Yeah. And the journeyman,
that's never going to happen. I mean, the fact that we're still talking about this, and there's been documentaries made about it. Yeah, I think that is the consolation prize. I think is that
totally.
Yeah,
it's awesome. I wish you would have been there using the bathroom in Comerica Park and found your business card.
They may still be there for all I know. I mean, it could.
No,
but I have more.
My wife worked at Comerica Park. It was one of her first jobs was working at Comerica Park, and I don't think they cleaned it very often. So we might be.
Yeah.
Do you guys think this is an impossible task to Chad? You said that there's actually already been an effort to get this in the record books that was unsuccessful. At least one like significant effort. Do you want to talk about that? You were telling me before we got on.
Yeah, no, I was just I used the AI,
Yeah.
and and it turns out that Monmouth University, which I'm from Jersey, I'm pretty sure it's in Jersey,
Okay.
put together a very comprehensive 82-page legal argument as to why it should be reinstated as a perfect game, and they submitted to the commissioner, and he accepted it and took it under consideration. And I think after several months, he came up with the Pandora's box line.
Yeah.
But the arguments of that legal document expand on what you were talking about, Joel, especially the perspective of the next guy got out, and like,
Yeah.
that
Was that
effort
still Bud
failed.
Selig then, or was it
No,
Kennesaw
no,
Mountain
like,
Landis, or who was the commissioner back then? Was it was it the new guy?
this was in like 2022, so I
Oh,
believe it's the current commissioner.
okay.
But I mean, not to be morbid, but I mean that guy's gonna die. The document's
Well,
still alive.
the way I prefer to look at it, I don't wish death upon anybody, but the way
Oh
I
no,
prefer it is, hey, Monmouth University, strike one. Joel, Chad, and Jeff, you guys are up. We'll we'll take it from here. You know,
love it.
we're the 3, 4, and 5 hitters. We'll bring this home. You know,
Heart of the order. Heart of the order.
heart of the order. But Jeff, would you want to see that happen, or do you prefer the moment lies the way it is?
I would like the fight leading up to the moment of getting it overturned.
Gotcha.
I think I would enjoy that journey and feel like I had done something to play my part in it, which I
Yeah.
don't belong in any part of it except for just being a rabid fan. But I would enjoy lighting that match, and let's go
Yeah.
after it.
Well,
Why not?
I've got a lot of business cards, and we have a lot of time, so I think we're gonna report back on that. We're gonna be it to be continued. We're definitely gonna have to do a follow-up on this.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna revisit this effort, and because
So this
God,
is
I would love to
episode
see it happen.
4. I think episode 17. We got to check in.
Right? Yeah, and then maybe we get Galarraga and Jim Joyce to duke it out here, and we can get them. We'll get them on the show and
That'd be
talk.
priceless.
Absolutely. Well, this has been an amazing show. Have we solved anything? Have we healed any wounds for you, Jeff, or have all we done is open them again? So
It did make me get my Alan Trammell uniform out of the closet, which was nice.
it looks great. Yeah.
Um,
This has been a great time, Jeff. I cannot thank you enough. This is Jeff Suffolk. You can catch him on his podcast, the Next Level Training Soccer, alongside Aaron Bird. Chad, you've actually appeared as a guest on that program.
I have, because 1, those guys know what they're talking about. 2, it's the beautiful game. No offense, favorite sport, but we won't talk about that here.
We can be persuaded to do a soccer podcast. I'll just get I'll have a mannequin sit in for me who could probably give as much insightful information as I
I
could.
mean, like 91 Women's World Cup. I mean, that's good.
You were so great. Thank you so much. Coming up, we've got our next episode. We're actually returning to our Boston roots a little bit. We've done a couple here that have been non-Boston, so we're going to actually be talking about the 1988 Morgan's Magic Red Sox for all of our Red Sox followers out there. Jeff, I know you can't wait for that. By the way, Alan Trammell hit a home run to beat the Red Sox that year on opening day off of Lee Smith. So at Fenway Park. So
I
I just wanted to end on a happy note for you. So.
I love you guys, man. You guys are
Thank you so much. We'll do it again soon, Chad. Thank you. And this is Where Were You? And we've had a good time. We'll see you guys next time.
See you next time. Thank you, Jeff.
You guys are awesome. That was fun.